Delphine with Young Leaders Galaxy and the Princess Delphine Show. And I'm here with
Romeo Miller.
All right, Romeo Miller, I have a few questions for you, all right? So you started your music career at the age of 11.
Yeah.
What do you...
Technically, we could say 10 and a half.
10 and a half.
Round it up, you know.
All right, round it up. What do you remember about your start?
What do I remember about my start? So, as you know, starting off as being a kid in the industry, school comes first.
Yes.
So I remember having a conversation of, if I'm going to do this, I got to maintain A's and B's in school. I got to maintain A's and B's. And that was the first memory, right? Knowing that if I'm going to be good in business, I'm going to be good in anything, I have to be a great student first.
Yes.
So education was the first thing.
Yes, that's also very important to me because growing up, I had, with my business and all,
Yeah.
I had to have, good grades, straight A's, and that led me to being a college student. Yes.
Wait, you only 9 years old.
13, yes.
Close enough.
Yes.
College student.
I just
should be interviewing you.
Yes, I just started my second semester.
Wow, congrats.
Thank you.
For president, y'all.
Next question. What is your one golden wisdom you have learned from your father about the hip hop world?
I'll say my one golden wisdom I learned from my pops is, my pops was always a big dreamer,
Yeah.
And I think people think you have to be perfect or do things always the right way, but you gotta just be willing to take accountability and live your truth. And the one thing I watched from my dad was he was always willing to dream big, even if other people didn't believe or didn't see it. And I think that's a rare thing for people, just to dream so big and not be afraid to chase that.
I definitely agree. So then what is one advice that you'd give to a young person watching this about starting a business or getting in the industry at a young age?
It'll be simple. I'll tell you, open up the Bible, because all your answers to your questions is in there. But the first thing, when you open up that Bible, you're going to realize, I think it's John 8:12, Jesus said, I am the light, right? So Jesus knew exactly who he was, which means we have to know who we are if we're going to go be successful. Because if you don't know who you are, somebody who think they know who you are going to tell you who they think you are. So identification is key, knowing what you want to do, who you are, having the right people, and a direction. Know where you want to go, because you will get pulled in different directions and become something you're not.
Yeah.
And like I said, life's not about being perfect. We're all going to mess up, but you have to be willing to take accountability. That was one of the biggest gems I learned from watching people around me. If you don't take that accountability, it's going to take you a little bit longer to get where you're going. So just suck it up, look that person in the mirror, and be like, hey, we're going to get it right. It may not be tomorrow, it may not be next week, but we'll get it right eventually.
That is very deep and inspirational. But speaking of the Bible, you talk a lot about your faith.
Yeah.
And me, as a granddaughter of a pastor, what did your call to Christ sound like? Like, walk me through it.
It's going to get kind of deep, because when I was 8 years old, I saw my cousin die in front of me in a car accident that I was supposed to be in, but he ended up switching with me 3 minutes before the car accident. So I always took that as a sign. As an 8-year-old, I knew I was here for a bigger purpose. And that's why I made a lot of history. It's not because I was super smart like you, or the best or the most talented, but I understood time. I understood I had to maximize my time. And that's when God introduced me. 8 years old, I was like, okay, everybody is here for a purpose. It's time to get to work. And that's why I broke Michael Jackson's record at 10 and a half years old. That's why I had the top TV show at 12, 13. I starred in my first leading role at 11 years old, Honey, and so on. And it's because you got to realize time isn't promised.
That is, wow. I'm just in shock. You went to college and you earned a degree. Why college when you have it all?
I was actually going to jump into that before you even asked, but I felt everything is knowledge, right? People say generational wealth and success, but all of that comes back to your education. If you have this up here, you could do anything. And me going to college, I was like, you're learning, you get to find yourself. it's about finding who you are, and that's why I put everything on hold to go to college. I wanted to become smarter. I wanted to become wiser. I knew that money would always come and go, but my education would always stay.
Yeah, that's very important because fame, it can go up, go down, and a bunch of unexpected things can happen. But when you have a degree, when you have that standpoint, you're set.
Yeah.
So we talked about this earlier, but I heard you are a philanthropist. So how does it feel? And walk me through the experience of giving back to people.
Like I said, you open up that Bible, God gonna tell you, you have to give back. That's the only way we make a true difference. And when I started my career, that was a conversation I had with my parents. It's like, look, I'm gonna be tithing. Everything I make, I'm just giving 10% to the church regardless. And it's important because if you want to truly change the world, it starts by one person. People think you got to have $1 billion to change the world. No, imagine if 1 billion people did 1 billion different things. That's how you change the world. That's how you give back. And that's how we make the world a better place.
Yes. When you said 10% to church, my heart just skyrocketed because as a child, every money that I made, especially income that I was making from my business, 10% of it,